to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life, be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. I hope that you are doing well, taking care of yourself, and living your best life today. Hello to everyone all around the archipelago, the beautiful islands of the Bahamas. It's good to see you. Happy, what day is it? Monday? It's not just me, y'all. These weekends are just way too short, okay? They're just way too short. I hope that everybody's doing well. Hello to Marie, Karen, Dayon. I ran into some great people today, and I ran into them, and we socially distanced ourselves, but it was good meeting a lot of people. Hello, Cindy. All right, so we got a power. Well, no, let me take that back. We had in store today a show which I have been looking forward to. I have had the opportunity to chat with the maternal grandmother of baby Bella. So, hello, Rain. Hello to everyone in Grand Bahama. Hello to everyone in Abaco. I got a good, strong listenership in Abaco, Grand Bahama, across all of the islands, Exuma. Thank you guys so much. So I had an opportunity today, this morning, maybe over 40 minutes of a discussion with baby Bella's grandmother. And as we had discussed last week, Friday, today would be the day where we would have this radio conversation. What happened was that there's some changes in some dynamics. So the daughter, or the mother of baby Bella, was set to have a bail hearing today. And to the show time, I hadn't gotten a contact. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I hadn't gotten an update on the status yet, but the attorney was very much confident that Bella's mother would be getting bail today. And also the case for the body of baby Bella would be being returned to the maternal grandmother, who's being heard today at 3:00. All of those things have caused a sticky wicket, as my good professor, Dr. Gilbert Morris, would say, in the appearance of the grandmother today. And so we are going to push back that interview. And when I tell you that it is a disappointment, but an understandable one, I think you'll be hanging off the edge of your seat with that interview or that discussion. And so we had to push it back, though, because legally, let the process of the courts do its thing. Hopefully through the show today, though, we'll hear from the attorney, and we'll get some information today. But this is a fascinating story. And you know what was interesting about this story? And I'll tell you what I thought was interesting, chatting with the maternal grandmother before I bring on my good friend, Ca Newry, who will be the co-host with me today. What was interesting with that conversation was that it is a multi-layered one. And one of the things that I liked with the maternal grandmothers was that she said, Mrs. Walker said, Mrs. Black, I have no grievance. If my daughter is guilty, consequences will follow. She said, but I lost my grandchild, right? And I think that is something else. She reminded me in some ways of my mother, because my mother is one where, listen, you're still my child, but I don't condone your foolishness. And that is something that's very interesting. The story is very much one that I think it is a cautionary tale to all of us. It is multi-layered, multifaceted. Many people are crying, the maternal side, the paternal side, the question of rights of a child. To whom is their rights given? Should the father have more rights? The law and how it is constructed, the maternal may have more weight, and we will find that out. I think today, hopefully, we'll get some information on that before the show is done, on the outcome of whom has the body of the child. And all in all, this is going to be a very interesting one. So we had to unfortunately push back this case or this interview today. And so that is a disappointment, because she and I, we were almost certain that we were looking forward to this discussion. One of the things she said to me that even gave me more impetus for just loving her candor was what Mrs. Walker said to me, the maternal grandmother to baby Bella. She said, "Mrs. Black, don't sugarcoat it. Ask me any question." And I assure y'all, I have plans to ask her every question that you have. And she has been very forthcoming. And once, to such a degree where I had to call the attorney and say, she is very forthcoming. Is these things allowed? And some things sub judice, where she can't speak on it because there are pending court cases. So she's very much ready to say and share her story. Someone says, what I can understand is that she said she knew her daughter was being abused, and yet she let her child stay in that the child stay in that situation. Make it make sense. That is perfectly, that's why I don't want to preempt the things that she said and shared with me. That makes this story even more interesting, because then you see that there are some where things are black and white to you and I, right? And one of the things she said, she didn't know the daughter was, she knew her daughter was being abused, but she had no clue that her grandbaby, right? And so then it begged all kinds of other questions that I think I don't want to preempt them. I want you to hear her reaction, her immediate response to these things. And because you and I are black and white. We see things like, listen, what about the baby? There's so many other things. So many things, like there was another child in this picture, right? There's another child in this picture. And this other child was an older brother, an older sibling to baby Bella, right? That lives with Grammy. So this is a very fascinating and riveting story. But I think that the story is not for us to dive into. When I listen to the story from her side, obviously, then there's the paternal family side, who actually kept baby Bella for all of these years, whose story I'm sure is even more because, of course, they were in a relationship with baby Bella. But what the story has done is not that for us to know the business of people, but I think it is to show how convoluted lives can be in this country. I walked away from this discussion with her, and someone says, Nahaja, if she saw the signs of the mother being abused, she could have seen the same thing for baby Bella. Again, I don't want to preempt anything, and so true, because like I said, the questions that I asked were very much pointed, and she wants those pointed questions to be asked to her, because she feels as if there's only one side that is being shared, and that she and her side is being painted. But it was fascinating things, man, fascinating circumstances and situations that make that story worth telling from her point of view. And so that we can ask questions too, because listen, this is no time for excuses, right? We lost the baby. And were there any ways to intervene? And so Mrs. Walker, she was ready to go today, but because of the court matters, and we'll find out if Bella's mother was granted bail today. We'll find that out today. Someone says men who abuse their romantic partners tend to abuse the children of that partner as well. So how could she have not even imagined that her granddaughter was being abused if she knew her daughter was endorsing? If she knew her daughter was endorsing abuse? Listen, when I tell you, I want these questions asked and answered by Miss Walker. I can't wait. So I'm disappointed that we weren't able to do this today. She is also disappointed, and she wants these questions to answer them. This is what is more, intriguing to me. She wants the hard questions. She said, Ms. Black, do not sugarcoat it. I don't want the questions that, they do for other news. I want you to ask me the tough questions. I said, you sure, Ms. Walker? She said, yes, because that's the only questions I will know. I want to know, when did we enter the scene? And so this is fascinating stuff. She said she had baby Bella at the beginning of when she first came home that first week, but and I want her to tell why she didn't keep the baby. This is all fascinating stuff. So I can't wait. We're going to push it off. We're working on the day when it is safe to do. Someone says, boy, I don't know what Grammy could possibly say. And I'm glad that you said that, because I don't know if there's anything that can, but I think that the fact that she wants to say her side, and you know, this is very, very, very interesting, very interesting. And she is going to be at the side of her daughter, and from the legal perspective, they're saying if she, the mother is a victim as well. So it's all very interesting stuff. All very interesting stuff. All right. So we, unfortunately, like I said, I really was looking forward to this interview. Unfortunately, we cannot have that today. And so I will keep you posted on when that can happen this week. I think the earliest will be Thursday, because I have two wonderful, that's the name, Ostonia Walker. Yeah, that's the name of the client there. So the mother there. So we have interesting show for you today, right? I got my good friend Ca Newry joining me as a co-host. If you've been keeping up, the FNM has had their election for leader, Mr. Michael Pintard. I don't know why y'all, I don't know if it's supposed to be a slight, right? But my favorite poem is by Michael Pintard. I could lie and tell y'all that maybe it was a Moby Dick thing, or maybe it was Shakespeare. But no, my favorite poem of all time is Michael Pintard's Bus a Ride on Bay Street. Favorite poem. I'm not that intellectually savvy where I could lie and tell y'all that I fell in love with the Jane Austen novel, or I fell in love with all of the poetic writings of, let me see, other than Shakespeare, who else had great poetic writings that I'm supposed to know off of my head? But maybe, it'll come to me. I don't have it in me. It's that same one, Bus a Ride on Bay Street. My favorite poem is a book of poetry. It's still, I think it's still standing, by Michael. Is that the name of it, Cecil? I think it's still standing, by Michael Pintard. Favorite book of poems. The boy's a poet, and you know it. Plus, you remember he wrote a massively entertaining stage play called Count It Again. One of my favorite stage plays of all time. And I went to a few. That one was by far one of the more Edgar Allan Poe. I can't even lie and say I like Edgar Allan Poe more than Michael Pintard's poetry. So y'all could hate, but that Bus a Ride on Bay Street, brother, rode that bus straight to the House of Parliament, and now he has a suit that fits, and he is the leader of the opposition of the Free National Movement, who just lost their, they just lost the party, but they're trending in a new direction with the former leader of the country and the party sitting in the backbenches of the House. What a time. Good job for Mr. Michael Pintard. Congratulations to Mr. Michael Pintard on winning the race. And I'm very happy for him. He was one of the few members of parliament for the Free National Movement who I actually thought deserved another term. And I'm happy that he is leader. Since, my good friend Dwayne couldn't run, I'm going with Michael Pintard. He was my second choice. And now my brother's the first choice. And he is the choice, number one guy. I want to welcome on the show before we go to break my good friend, Ca Newry. Ca, what do you think? Michael Pintard is the new leader of the Free National Movement.
And you froze. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And I guess I'm in charge again. And can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. No, you froze just now.
Sorry, man.
It was always good to be invited on your show, Nahaja, and thanks very much for the invite. This is some interesting times this come Christmas, so I'm eager to give commentary. So we'll see how that goes.
What do you think about Michael Pintard being the leader of the Free National Movement?
It was the only choice for them at this present time. He was the better candidate, mind you. All three of the gentlemen who ran were good candidates, but he were the better of the candidates, and most Bahamians expected him to win, followed by a Kwesi Thompson, and then eventually followed by an Aaron Lewis. So the numbers was something to expect in that order. So I understood why he was selected.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to have a good show for you. Dr. Dwayne Sands, who has put in his bid for chairman, is going to be joining us to talk about, of course, Michael Pintard as the new leader. And then, we have to have this discussion. I think one of those discussions, we have the Omicron variant that is also a big discussion. Lockdowns, not lockdowns, but travel restrictions are a part of our lexicon again. South Africa is feeling the brunt or the ire of the world, even though they discovered the thing and treat it as such. But we know that it's all around the world already. But there is hope that this is a milder version and that it's 50 different mutations of it or whatnot or something like that is actually, they're saying in South Africa that the effects of it is not as severe as the Delta, and maybe that's good news. So it's going to be an interesting thing. But we got my friend Dr. Dwayne Sands joining us, Ca Newry. Let's talk about the Free National Movement's plan or way forward. And again, for all of you, listen, I tell you, I want to dive into the story, so much so with baby Bella and her grandmother, but I gotta wait. Ca Newry joining me today. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she says she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
What you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman. Does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence. And we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them and the messages get on mix up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
Helping out each other, family and everybody. It's a simple act of kindness with you, me, and RBC.
RBC wants to spread acts of kindness during this festive season. One simple act of kindness for our friends, co-workers, and communities can cause the brightest smile. Help a stranger, give a food basket, or call an elderly person. Share your stories at facebook.com/RBC Caribbean.
Acts of kindness, RBC.
With BTC Business's new smart solutions powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
Food security is a challenge for many. Now in a pandemic, many more are unsure of their next meal. Through their Feed 5,000 program and a $20,000 donation, AML is working to ensure that everyone has a meal for the holidays, and they're inviting you to help. Now until December 17th, visit any Solomon's, Costrite, Fresh Market, or Domino's in Nassau or Freeport, and Exuma Markets in Georgetown to donate and help feed a family in need this Christmas. No amount is too small. Remember, we're all in this together.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I ran into a wonderful teacher at St. John's today in the parking lot when I was trying to when I was supposed to be leaving. I was running my mouth, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I was hailing a lot of people. And she was just a wonderful teacher. I didn't get her name, but I know you might be listening. Hello, Teach. It's good to meet you today. All right, we got special guests joining me. Of course, my very good friend, Ca Newry, bona fide, somewhat kind of been appointed co-host. That's my guy. And special guest of the show, the one and only Dr. Dwayne Sands. Doc, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. It is so good to be here. CA,
It's been a while, eh?
What's that?
I said it's been a while, Doc. I missed you. How you been?
You told me to the curb, man. I realize I ain't like no big shot no more. You know what I mean? I'm not a member of parliament or none of them things. So, I figure I see how it go.
Never in a million years could I throw my good friend to the curb. Look at CA. Watch this.
Speak the truth and shame the devil, Nahaja. That's how y'all Bahamians go.
Now, I got to remind Nahaja that we still have an outstanding thing.
Yes.
Okay? So
yes,
I can leave it at that.
Well, I just saying now, we got to throw the third party out the picture because that other fellow who got a show earlier in the day, he's hard to lock down. I'm just saying, Doc.
Well, lock him down because, we have unfinished business.
You best believe it. Dr. Dwayne Sands joining us on the show, my good friend, Ca Newry. And I'm going to put Ca right in the background for a minute there whilst Doc and I chat. All right, Doc. So again, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I have to ask you, Doc, it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend for you and for the party by and large. What was that like?
It was electric. The election of the 6th democratically elected leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Clifton Pintard, Laura Benson's son. It was a feeling of optimism. And if I could use the Progressive Liberal Party's line, it was a new day. So, we, the members of the Free National Movement, looking forward to moving together as we tackle some of the issues in an inclusive fashion under the leadership of somebody who has been in this organization for some time, who has labored in the vineyard. He and I shared time in the Senate together way back in 2010, 11, all the way up to the election of 2012. He's a thespian. He is an orator, but he has phenomenal passion for the Bahamas and Bahamians. And I think we're all excited to see Michael Pintard now at the helm of the Free National Movement.
I think it's I think it's great that there seems to be a level of excitement or, I think and let me ask you that, Dr. Dwayne Sands joining us. Would you say that the right word is excitement for the party when it comes to this new to Michael Pintard being determined the new leader? Would you say that excitement is the right word? What is the mood overall, you would say?
The mood is optimistic. It was an electric moment to see a resounding affirmation of a son of the party, 293 votes out of just shy of 500 cast. The idea that the Free National Movement will not only reclaim those persons who have been forgotten, who have been allowed to drift to the side of the road, to reclaim them, but also to look forward to the future in an inclusive way, to be a progressive organization, not interested in opposing for opposing's sake, an organization that wants to see this government succeed, but will not allow them to be slack. Somebody who is able to go toe-to-toe when he needs to, but who also has the ability to be a deep thinker. Who would have thought that anybody could make agriculture exciting? Think about it. But you watch Michael Pintard when he was Minister of Youth, energize that ministry. He was asked to move to a different portfolio, perhaps one not seemingly as exciting, and didn't grouse, didn't complain, but tackled it with fervor. You know, without telling family secrets, Michael Pintard and I, let's say we enjoyed some of the challenges of being in cabinet together. And, you know, I think that he would say that those experiences stretched him as a politician in exactly those words, and prepared him for this very day. And so I think this is his day. He should just glow or enjoy the moment, even as the phenomenal load of what is to come now rests on his shoulder as he leads this great organization back to greatness.
Those are, you know, it's so interesting that you use those words, you know, back to greatness. One of the things that's constant that has been said, and I had to think on this, Dr. Sands, Dr. Dwayne Sands joining us, former member of parliament for Elizabeth, former minister of health joining us on the show. This idea of an embarrassing defeat. And when I say idea of it, you know, I hear it, and I guess I understand the gravitas of, or the weightiness of that statement. But do you feel as if that the Free National Movement, even in its worst representation, should not have lost the way that it did? Not talking about perhaps how we foresaw the last term's representation, but do you feel as if the party views the way you lost as an embarrassment or an indictment on the party as a whole, on the leadership style, on even the former members of parliament? How do you view that defeat?
You know, on any given Sunday, when you put two great teams together on the football field, and I'll use that metaphor, the outcome can be lopsided, and the team that was considered the favorite could get their pants beat off of them. That metaphor is an apt metaphor for what can happen in Bahamian politics. We saw it in 2017. The Progressive Liberal Party went into that election feeling very confident that they were going to retain the government. They thought that they had done enough. The same way this administration, notwithstanding acknowledged missteps, and acknowledging the complaints of the electorate, thought that they had done enough in grave circumstances to win the confidence of the electorate. And we got our backside beat, and we were beat badly. And so oftentimes the degree of your trouncing is not necessarily commensurate with your performance. But, you know, the Bahamian people have spoken, and, you know, the voice of the people is the voice of God. You know, the people have spoken, and you got to listen, whether you like it or you don't like it.
Let me ask you something, Dr. Dwayne Sands. What did you guys hear? You know, when you say, you know, we have to listen, what do you think the Free National Movement heard from that loss? Because what we're seeing, and CA and I make this joke all the time, that the seemingly obvious takeaway, or what we see as the takeaway that the party is considered or come to, is that the problem was Dr. Minnis as Prime Minister. And once we remove Dr. Minnis, then all is right with the Free National Movement. What are you listening to? What has the party heard from its defeat?
That certainly, you know, is one of the factors. But I think you need to to know that the ground troops felt marginalized. And when you do not listen attentively to comments made by the people that are out on the street fighting your battles, they are involved in the skirmishes, in the discussions. They are in the restaurants and the stores and the barrooms and churches, etc. And you need to listen to their commentary, and failure to do so will be at your peril. And certainly as you listened to those comments, there were some suggestions, very strong statements that, hey, we need to be going in a different direction. And whether you believe that the direction in which you're traveling is the right one, if your foot soldiers, if your supporters are not there, then that results in 40,000 or so FNM staying home, because they won't necessarily vote for the other guys, but they ain't gonna vote for you either. And that lesson is a part of the same narrative. It's a part of the narrative of, are you truly servant leaders? Are you truly in touch with the people that you're privileged to serve? Or has there been a level of arrogance that has crept into your style?
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Dr. Dwayne Sands talking about the newly minted leader of the Free National Movement and leader of the opposition in the House, Mr. Michael Pintard, and the way forward now, right? I got questions for you, Doc. Of course, your announcement to run for chairman. Then you got all kind of breaking, non-breaking, probably premature. I don't know what type of news this is. But
let's talk.
We're gonna talk because I hear you're moving back into the house. You're moving way back up, but we're gonna talk about that as well. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
Rev customers already get more channels, more sports, and more speed. Now, we're giving more Christmas with up to $250,000 in cash and prizes. Sign up or upgrade to Rev Trio to win prizes like rent and mortgage payments, trips to see your favorite sports teams, plus up to $20,000 in our Rev Cash Vault. Want to win more Christmas? Call 601-8992 today and ask for Rev Trio. Rev, you and us together.
At Fidelity, the holidays are all about family, spending time with loved ones, and being thankful for the little things in life. Worrying about bills should be the last thing on your mind, especially during the holidays. Let Fidelity help you get your bills under control. Fidelity can also get you started with a real savings plan that actually pays you interest. The only thing you need to think about is what you will do with the savings in your pocket this Christmas. Now that's what I'm talking about. Fidelity Bank is here for you this holiday season because you are family, and family is important to us.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black live here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Don't forget, you don't have to miss any part of the show. You can always follow, like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and on Facebook. Just type in Nahaja Black on YouTube, on Facebook. the same thing, or the Hit Back with Nahaja Black on Facebook. Subscribe, hit the notification buttons to the right, and of course, you won't miss a show. But you always, always, always are certain to catch a live show or a show here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, because even if I'm not online, I am always here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I got my special guest joining me, Dr. Dwayne Sands. Ca Newry is in the background, so I know he's going to have commentary as we move along. But Dr. Dwayne Sands, thank you so much for joining us on the show again. We're talking about now this next phase of the Free National Movement under the new leadership, the very new leadership of former Minister of Agriculture and Fish and Marine Resources, Michael Pintard, and now Leader of Opposition and Leader of the party. They are Member of Parliament for Marco City. So now we have the new leadership here, but we still have the Bahamian people are looking, Doc, and we're still looking at the former Prime Minister, former leader of the House, former leader of the party. So we have former Prime Minister, former leader of the House, former leader of the party. One person, Dr. Hubert Min, is sitting in the House of Assembly as Member of Parliament for Killarney. And I want to ask you this very much in a candid, frank question to you on that relationship. What is the dynamic now? If I can ask this question, I will ask this question and see if you'll answer it. What is the dynamic now? What is his role that you guys are hoping for with this next transition?
Well, the most honorable, I guess he's now honorable Member of Parliament for Killarney, is a member of the FNM Parliamentary Caucus. He was one of the persons who signed the letter to the Governor General acceding to the request to make Michael Pintard the official leader of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition. And as such, the expectation is that he will be a valuable and important member of the Parliamentary Caucus moving forward. It will be an interesting transition, I'm sure, because you're watching somebody who has gone from Prime Minister to Leader of the Opposition and now to Member of Parliament. And the leadership of the Free National Movement now falls on the shoulders of Michael Pintard. I believe that the leader of the opposition, Pintard, has made it very clear that he will look forward to using the advice and support of not only Hubert Minnis, but Tommy Turnquest and Hubert Ingram and others in a collaborative way. So it would all go well for the Free National Movement if the member for Killarney contributes in a mighty way to the way forward, but in a different role.
I would say, though, the photos that we've been seeing of Saturday showed a photo where we didn't see much of the former Prime Minister in them. It was really those members that you spoke about. We saw photos with Mr. Pintard, with Brent Simonet, Tommy Turnquest, Hubert Ingram, yourself. We've seen those images, but we're not seeing those images with Dr. Minnis. And it leads to continuing, or the characterization of this relationship that Dr. Minnis is somehow being ostracized or isolated within the party. What do you say to that?
Let me say that for those non-combatants who think that politics is easy and that losing is easy, it is not easy. I can remember after the convention of 2016, when after Butler Turner withdrew, and that I subsequently withdrew from the race for leadership. Boy, that was hard. It was very hard. And I can remember on the final night of that convention, as it was getting ready to start, wondering if I had it in me to go downstairs and face the delegates. And I've never told this story publicly, but a particular person came up to my room, and he and I spoke. And he gave me some perspective. And I can remember walking into that auditorium that night as a defeated, almost dejected feeling individual. The response of the delegates was overwhelmingly positive. As a matter of fact, I got a standing ovation when I walked into that room. But I can tell you that it was not easy to go down. After you lose an election, whatever election, having given your all, it hurts, and sometimes it takes you a while to be able to recover. It may be that it will take individuals some time before they re-engage. And I am sure that there are many of us that will make up our own story as to why so-and-so didn't do this, or why so-and-so didn't do that. And we'll have strong opinions as to whether they are good loser, sore loser, or what have you. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all human.
One of the things that's a big conversation now even is the factions of the Free National Movement. That's a discussion of factions. Because Dr. Minnis, he didn't just lose the election. He has lost the confidence of the party to be leader. He has been told by the members not to run again. I think those are damning moments. Former Prime Minister Ingram, after losing that election, decided to resign. Perry Christie, after losing his seat, well, he had no other choice. He was no longer a member of parliament. But Dr. Minnis, he's been told in not so many words, but in essence, no, actually in all those words, don't run again. You are not going to be the leader. And now we have a new leader. He has found himself in the back bench. And there is a discussion of factions that are pro-Minnis, pro-Sands, pro-Pintard. All of this leads to one wondering, how do you guys, has there been an olive branch? Has there been an olive branch?
The beauty of a Michael Pintard and the notes that he has struck already, just 2 days after being elected, almost by a massive landslide. Or some can call it a massive landslide. He has been conciliatory. He has reached out to all. He called Loretta Butler Turner by name. He called Hubert Shipman by name. He called Richard Lightman by name. He called Nico Grant by name. He made a very strong point to reach out to Hubert Minnis, not only on Saturday, but today. And certainly I think it is so important for a leader to recognize that, even after a defeat, even after a misstep, that doesn't define everything about an individual. There are some people that have strong feelings about whether person A or person B or person C should be involved in politics in the FNM at all. Mm-hmm. And those feelings run very, very high. But hopefully over time, those feelings get softened, they get tempered, and the recognition of the value that persons bring or have brought to the party and the historical significance of those individuals lends us to demonstrate that we are stronger together.
I've heard that.
And that the Free National Movement relying on the talents of a Hubert Minnis, a Hubert Ingram, a Tommy Turnquest, a Loretta Butler Turner, a Hubert Chipman, a Richard Lightburn, I could go on, and Andre Rollins, and so on, is a far stronger organization and an unbeatable organization, because you now have all of these different ways of looking at the challenges that are facing this country. And so
I like your spirit saying unbeatable organization. All the PLPs and FNM still getting beat. It's just a thing.
You see, Nahaja, I have thrown my hat in the ring to act in a capacity as wingman. And so when you talk about providing the infrastructural or organizational support for leadership to be able to go toe-to-toe with the currently dominant political organization, throwing blows on your feet extemporaneously, that is something that we need to be able to do. That we are able to speak deliberately and aggressively on the issues in real time. That we will not give an inch to the PLP, not an inch. And when they do nonsense, we will respond. And hence, I'm looking forward not to usurp the power of Michael Pintard, but to augment his ability to lead.
Let me ask you this before I go. I got two quick questions for you. So as succinct as possible, Doc, let me ask you this. There has been a story that senatorship is in your very near future. What do you say to that?
You know, I would tell you never, ever use Bahamas Press as an authoritative source. They are notoriously unreliable. Look, Michael Pintard has been the leader of the Free National Movement for one day, having received his instruments of office today. Let us give him the courtesy of looking at the lay of the land, to take advice, to get counsel, to make some decisions. This is his privilege as leader. And I am sure that he will look at all options, and let's see what he decides.
One more question before I let you go. Loretta Butler Turner has, now found herself and has been wooed, I think, by the Progressive Liberal Party, and is now serving as a consultant, and said that, hey, she is a fan of the blueprint for change, even some intimating that, meaning that perhaps this is more sensible for her in her, not her change. She didn't have a party anymore. She ran as an independent. So does the Free National Movement feel as if you've lost a great mind and person, and someone whom you greatly admired, was willing to work with us as leader of the party in Loretta Butler Turner? Are you guys going back on the field to try and woo Madam Butler Turner back?
I believe that the Free National Movement will demonstrate itself to be an attractive organization for many people who have become disgruntled, who have become disappointed, who have thought that perhaps the Free National Movement was not quite the organization that they thought it could be or thought it was. And so as the organization demonstrates yet again that it is in sync with, in touch with the pulse, the heartbeat of the Bahamian people, there will be many people that will come home. Some will decide to stay away, and that is okay too. But I believe that the Free National Movement 6 months from now, 12 months from now, will be a much more vibrant, exciting organization. And I am excited to be a part of it.
Dr. Dwayne Sands joining us on the show. Thank you so much, Doc. I got tons more questions, but I promised it would be short. So we got to do this again soon. And plus, I see you put your name in. You've been practicing for almost 18 months on this chairman thing. I see you now.
I was deputy chairman of the Free National Movement. At the time, Charlie Maynard was the chairman. As you know, he had an untimely premature death.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was in the middle of personal turmoil in my life. I won't go into the details.
Right.
And I had the privilege of asking a colleague, a great FNM, Darren Cash, to take up the mantle as chairman. And I
Listen.
tried to support him.
Well, we're gonna chat some more. We got to go to a news break. Dr. Dwayne Sands, thank you so much, Doc. Have a good one. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio. We'll be back right after this.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good afternoon. I'm Tashina Robinson with your Guardian Network News Update at 5. Thanks for tuning in. Former Prime Minister Hubert Minnis defending his government's decision to grant Royal Caribbean International a 150-year lease to Crown Lounge on Paradise Island. In the House of Assembly today, Seabreeze Member of Parliament Leslie Miller Bryce slammed his administration over details of the deal, which came to light last week. Under the agreement, Royal Caribbean will pay $140,000 a year in rent. Mr. Minnis believes the benefits outweighs the drawbacks. He pointed to the cruise line's forecasted $55 million investment into the property itself and spin-off jobs created from the $110 million project. New Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard's pleas for FNMs to return to the party may not have fallen on deaf ears. Former FNM Cabinet Minister Loretta Butler Turner says she is taking it into consideration, although there's no chance of her returning to frontline politics. The Davis administration recently awarded the fiery former leader of the official opposition a consultant position at the Small Business Development Center. The list of candidates vying to become the Free National Movement's next chairman is growing. Two former cabinet ministers want the position, Ellsworth Johnson and Dwayne Sands. Both say they're the best man for the job. Meantime, Shannon Cartwright says he's considering a deputy leadership run, and Renwood Wells is prayerfully contemplating his next move. And two school-based arts and craft programs were on the receiving end of Sandals' generosity. C.C. Sweeting and Aquinas College received bolts of fabrics from the Sandals Foundation, the resort's charity arm. Sandals is currently undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation, and Aquinas principal Shauna Knowles received the fabrics on her school's behalf. Students there are expected to put the fabric to good use. From the material, they will create handbags, cushions, stool, and bench covers. And with that, we wrap up your Guardian Network News Update. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tashina Robinson. Stay tuned. AP News is up next.
Coronavirus update. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now calls for all adults to get booster shots. President Biden says people should be concerned but not panicky about the Omicron variant of the virus.
And we'll fight this variant with scientific and knowledgeable actions and speed, not chaos and confusion.
The president adds those who haven't been vaccinated should do so, and those who have should get the booster shots. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin rejects a request by Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt that his state's National Guard be exempt from a Pentagon requirement all military members be vaccinated against COVID-19. Austin pointing out in a letter those who refuse could lose their federal status, which could impact their pay and future benefits. Federal Judge Missouri issues a temporary stay of a Biden administration order that healthcare workers involved in Medicaid and Medicare be vaccinated. Missouri and 9 other states are challenging the mandate in federal court. I'm Tim McGuire.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
To those affected by a hurricane, the damage is far greater than the eye can see. It's the pain of experiencing damage to your home. But there are people right here that can help. We're CG Atlantic General. We're your neighbors. We live here and work here too. We're always ready to answer calls and to process your claims as quickly as possible. So when a storm turns your life upside down, we're here to turn it around. CG Atlantic General. Good like that. Security and General Insurance Company Limited, trading as CG Atlantic General. Contact a CG Atlantic General broker today.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Your child needs nutrients every day, and Enfagrow has DHA and iron, which supports your child's mental development. Enfagrow has components which cow's milk does not contain. Support your toddler's growth and complement their diet with Enfagrow. Let's fuel the wonder. This product is not intended to be a substitute for breast milk. Milk does not contain DHA, but contains calcium and other nutrients.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, 9 minutes after the 5 o'clock hour. If you're on the road today, right now, tell me you ain't loving this change in weather. My good friend Ca Newry joining me. I had on with us just before then the former Minister of Health, former Member of Parliament for Elizabeth, and now hopeful, vying for the chairmanship, Dr. Dwayne Sands was on the show with us. Also, if you're just tuning in, what was promised today was going to be today. But unfortunately, the maternal grandmother for baby Bella, we could not continue with that show today. It has been postponed until we can be certain. For 1 o'clock, the daughter was requesting bail. So at 1 o'clock today, the attorneys for Bella's mother, Ostanya, she was there was a request for bail. Honestly, I'm waiting for confirmation. I haven't gotten that update yet. And then at 3 o'clock, there was the case where the maternal grandmother is asking for the body of baby Bella today. All of those factors have led for legally their attorney saying to wait until those issues are resolved for today. And we will have the maternal grandmother join us on the show. as early as possible. I got my good friend though, Ca Newry, joining me. Ca, welcome back, buddy. What did you think? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I enjoyed the interview we had with Dwayne Sands just now. It's always a pleasure to listen to him, eh? Things just make sense when he explains it, and it was a pleasure that you asked him some tough questions, and I was laughing in the background. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, what would you consider? Someone says, Nahaja, seriously, you need to get to read and ask more of the questions in the comments. Thanks. What was I think some of the things that was interesting. I walked away thinking that Doc was very much doing his best as a wordsmith.
Yes.
To not say Dr. Minnis sitting in the back there real uncomfortable.
No. And he explained that well. He gives a narrative of his personal walk being rejected, right? I remember that a Perry Christie had that experience. A Hubert Ingram had that experienced that loss. And he's saying, rightly so, that this is a walk that Minnis has to do. And it'll take time to transition from where he was being most honorable to being a backbencher, not significant. And we see today that he and his role was attempting to explain his regime, and he was doing it aptly. He took the criticism from the PLP, he embraced it, and he did his best to explain that. So definitely he has talent and skill to add to the FNM, because definitely during this 5 years, the FNM need to explain a lot, and they need to have someone who will be responsible for explaining that, separate and apart from the narrative of this new FNM. So, and we know that Minnis also has proven himself to be a winner, loser too. But no one expected in 2017 that Minnis would have won that general election. And out of nowhere, with his cunning and with his guile and his tenacity and his...
I don't know about all of that. I think maybe
point is, it was impossible for him to win. He win.
But I will give him his cunning or his political prowess, because of course you had to some degrees you brokered certain movements, right? You brokered deals with certain movements, and he was able to get some more heavy weighted people like at that time Dionisio de Aguilar, Marvin Dames, and there was another one. You call it the trifecta. Who were the three? It's Dionisio de Aguilar, Marvin
and Johnson. Johnson came in afterwards too.
Who's Johnson?
Johnson from Yamacraw, Ellsworth.
No, it wasn't Ellsworth. He wasn't one of the...
Ellsworth was a heavy hitter to get a former
Bar Association president. He wasn't of the trifecta. It wasn't him. He wasn't the trifecta.
The trifecta was Marvin Deems, Jeffrey Lloyd.
And, there you go. And Dionisio de Aguilar. Those were the trifecta.
Oh, okay.
And so then you said, okay, well, then that must mean something to his leadership style, because there was questions about Dr. Minnis's leadership style before he became prime minister. Don't forget, Chippy Chipman, the former man. Did I say Chippy Chipman? Wrong one. Hubert Chipman.
Just do it. The Chipman family. Yes.
The Chipman family. Hubert Chipman. One of the things he said was that he didn't trust the competency. Loretta Butler with the coup. They did not trust the competency or the quality of leadership. Questioned. One of the things I remember, I don't know if you remember, then Leslie Miller says, man, that's my friend, but he ain't the sharpest thing on tonight.
And it was entertaining. And despite all of that, remember Leslie try help him go on a rally stage and say, okay, he lives anyway. I shall help him out. I shall help him out.
And,
right?
Yeah. And then Hubert Ingram did the Darth Vader speech, right? So...
And don't forget the dancing on the rally stage. Hit the road, Jack. I said, oh Lord, he's not going anywhere. But he was able to survive that. A series of different coups, right? To take over his entire party and survive that. So this gentleman has skill. He has skill when the water has become hot. When things have started boiling, he is able to at least think on the box and say, well, we need to do this. And if the FNM wants to consider winning again, they would need some of that beguilement in the future to say, well, what can we consider? Because this PLP party is formidable.
It's formidable right now. Yeah.
Yes. And they has the attention of the Bohemian psyche. They are a sexy party. They have a lot of women who are excited to be a part of this. So, no man, every day we see the seven.
I don't know why you said sexy and then went straight to women. Like I mean, which is great. I do not have no problem with women being deemed sexy. I agree, but somehow you went straight from a sexy party
I'm
to
getting
women.
concerned that you think only women can be sexy.
Well, only the women seem to be very sexy inside. I mean, attractive, really in politics. But him in politics, thank God for the women. I won't.
You saying that them PLP men ugly?
I didn't say that.
What you saying? Because
I don't know what you saying. What you saying? I didn't say that.
No, okay, because I got confused because I was on a wicket and then you just changed to make the PLP men are not sexy.
I didn't say that. But by the way, I was pulling a Cecil. If you're confused, then welcome to Cecil world.
Okay, yes. That did sound like me.
That's
good. But Mr. Hubert Minnis is still popular in Kalani. He has a large support and he has a base within the FNM. People are still supporting him there. So this is where Michael Pintard's talent comes in. I assume he will be able and skillful to bring all of those factions within the FNM and create a formidable party. Definitely there's some excitement within the FNM now. There are people who are moving to return home.
Really?
There are drums being beaten in Abaco. People who I thought had abandoned the FNM altogether, turned independent, right? Have now saying, yes, CA, I'm going home. And I say, how? Why? Over one speech, he said the move has been made, the summons has been called. There is a draw. There is a draw and an excitement. These people already start talking about February. I'm not sure what happened in February. That's something grand.
What February? What it is now? Listen, I found out that it's February 27th. It's my birthday, and I'm like, this is not the gift I was looking for. I listen, but okay.
You might have to work on your birthday.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Anyways, so look. They're looking forward to their elections, and perhaps we're talking a cultural shift. But we'll see, right? Because we do know leadership changes the culture, right? We do have an understanding that the leadership culture, you can start it from the top. Curious to determining, because we've heard this talk before about factions.
Yes. Yes.
And to me, it's rhetoric. And it's rhetoric that is party oriented. So the party has to figure out how to deal with the factions. But then after that, interesting, Dr. Dwayne Sands says 40,000 FNM stayed home. And I'm curious as to know how did they know it's 40,000 FNMs and just not 40,000 people who may have voted FNM. Because you voted FNM, are you an FNM? Like, I don't understand.
And they are presuming, I'm not sure if it's factual or not, that those persons who stayed home were FNM. But reasonably, before this election, we assume that a third, 30%, 33% of the population supported the PLP, and by response, 33% of the population supported the FNM, and everyone else after that, that's 66, leaving about 53, something like that. If my math is off.
I'm following, so I'm going with you right now.
That leaves the rest as being swing voters, persons who vote independent, people who doesn't really care who wins or not, and so going with that numbers, I assume that's what they're using, and it's something to watch. It is something to watch, but definitely Michael Pintard's dynamic, presence, I should say, brings a new dynamic to the FNM party. This is a more intellectually, just from one person, intellectually based party, right? And I'm expecting the new leadership to be smart and savvy, a new age type of politician, instead of the old guard who campaigns in a particular way. So I'm watching to see if that happens, if that pans out, who will be this new executive team.
So someone says, what has any party done for the country other than make foreigners and themselves rich in the last 40 years? And that question, I think, also underscores a concern for the growing dynamic of Bahamian people that, hey, listen, party politics, in particular, the two major parties have shown us very little in terms of difference. Now, I do like how this government has started. You know what I mean? They've started with intention. And I like that, So, and like I said, I'm rooting for them, because to root against them is to root for my own demise. I'm rooting for this government to do well, because fiscally, socially, we're in a quagmire. Like, we're in trouble. So we need this government to do well.
Yes.
But how do we get, because I think it's a matter of confidence. It's a matter of restoring trust, right? This government seems to have an understanding that they need to restore trust. They need to be prudent. They need to be, present. I think at some point they might be overdoing it, but I like what I'm seeing. How does the Free National Movement do that sort of repentance and mea culpa, so that now the desire, because I think that people are desiring different alternatives. I know we want alternatives. How does the Free National Movement get itself into that repentant space?
And at this present time, I want to evoke the spirit of Terence Bethel, the late Terence Bethel, right? And when the PLP was in opposition, and he used to call me every so often and discuss what he plans or what he's doing within the PLP, talking about their constitution, talking about their candidates reform and changing the culture of the PLP. And I was to challenge him and said, Terence, that can't happen. The PLP is a culture and it's a religion. And what the PLP is will always be. And he said, Cecil, we are changing the look of the PLP. And he started doing steps and say who he's working with and what all he's doing. And slowly but surely, we saw that the PLP changed. The Constitution changed for sure. We saw the candidates committee working with candidates to be more skillful and apt and knowledgeable about what's happening inside the Bahamas, right? And when the election came by, right, the PLP was a well-oiled machine. They had a war room that worked. People understood their jobs, right? And I think that the FNM may have to go through the same process of trying to understand and to respond to what it is that the Bahamian people want, right? The PLP has done that. They listen. Yeah. They call in advisors. They analyze what went wrong with them, and created a plan of response. And I think that the FNM must do the same thing. They cannot say that it was just their leader. It can't be just their leader was the reason why they got rejected at the polls. It has to be more than that, right? Because some key fellas who one thought they were doing their job lost their seat. So they need to have some self-introspection also and determine what is it about themselves, what is it about their party that and then have that juxtaposed with what is it that the Bahamian people want moving forward for the next 5, 10, 20 years, and then create a new party, a new image of that response, and make themselves attractive again to the Bahamian populace.
Yeah, someone says, agreed, CA, you making sense for a change. What a time.
I never make sense, man. I just talk and blog on what happens then, right? And people take advice. And Nahaja, I give commentary, and there are a number of persons from all political divides who would say, CA, what is your opinion on that? And it benefits me. So I just analyze, and what comes out, comes out.
Yeah, and I agree with you that, hey, listen, there will be some there's some introspection, I think. And then the change comes with the change of mindset, right? A repentance, an acknowledgement, and a turning away, right? Yes. An acknowledgement of what I did wrong, and then a turning away from it to try it and to promise oneself with intention not to do that thing again. And I think that, okay, what you saw with the Progressive Liberal Party was that they changed their leader, but the leader wasn't different. You see what I'm saying? And one of the challenges where people were like, but that's Philip Davis, right? Who is, and everyone has a mindset or an idea of who the prime minister, well, the then deputy leader of the opposition then, who he was. And we questioned what was his ability to lead. So far, so good. Pleasantly surprised. You hear the same thing now with Michael Pintard. He is not new. They changed the leader. Will Mr. Pintard change or give us some confidence in his capability to lead? Because Mr. Pintard also has some sort of questionable past. We have the whole incident with, where people keep bringing up fishes, the fishermen right? And these are, and my thing is, the question is, and just my point here, my point is that is the changing of leadership, though familiar, able to change the culture of the party? And I think I walk away with give folks a chance and let's see.
And Nahaja, I would counter that with saying that the PLP didn't change their leader. The PLP changed their system. And it's the system that we are watching right now. They created a team. See, there was a great criticism of Philip Davis and whether he was savvy enough, whether he was articulate enough, whether he has the confidence of the Bahamian people. Then the people throw in Chester Cooper and say, oh, Lord, if Chester is with him, right? That means one must follow Philip Davis because they are the dynamic team. There are certain issues that Philip Davis didn't speak about at all. Chester did all the talking, all the talking on that, right? And there were certain responses that Fred Mitchell was the one put forward who would slash down any commentary we came after. That was a dynamic team. And then there were ordinary workers behind the scenes who were changing the constitution, who were changing the political system, right? For that particular party. They had a war room that was working.
Yes,
right?
Very true.
They had the idea of where they wanted to go. And when they faltered from that, you see the chairman came back and said, hey, Fred Mitchell come with that speech and start putting people in order, corralling things. The FNM must do the same thing. The FNM must do the same thing. And the most important thing what the FNM needs to do now is have an adequate chairman. It's not necessarily about a Michael Pintard, but whosoever becomes the chairman will shepherd the entire party and change the culture of the party and make the party attractive that people say, I'm coming home or I'm rejecting that party. So it's all about whoever becomes the chairman. And this is why it's important to hear the conversation of a Dwayne Sands to see if he's believable, hear the conversation of an Ellsworth Johnson to see if he's capable. And I heard, and see how my inbox go, I heard that there may be even a female chairman aspirant coming forward. So I'm excited to see if that panders to be true. But I would say wonders of the FNM party, whether they embrace women within the party, because the PLP clearly embrace women. They have women all through the party doing all kind of things. So the FNM also needs to respond in kind and show that they are empowered. And one of the questions or demands of the FNM before the election of the leader was that the youth want to be empowered. They want to be more engaged and involved. And there was also a cry that women want to be empowered and more engaged and involved. And all that will fall on leadership, on how exactly they convince those people that they will be inclusive into this new dynamic of the FNM. And they need to start analyzing that and seeing ways on how they can do that.
Yeah. And I mean, excellent point. Ca Newry joining me, my friend using all of his political savvy in this one today. I mean, you come in on strong. I need to give you, if I was close by, buddy, we social distancing, I would have given you like a high five. But
this is how I get my donations, by analyzing. It's like, oh, okay, write the notes down. So there it is.
But you had on some great points there, and I think we can take a break on that and come back and talk a bit more. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is safe and effective. Just one jab for now offers you protection against the serious risks of COVID-19. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine reduces the likelihood of serious illness, hospitalization, and death from COVID-19. Get vaccinated and help reduce the spread of COVID-19. To be safe, continue to wash your hands, wear your face mask, practice physical distancing, and get vaccinated.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health and this radio station.
Here we go. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. Always covered me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
COVID-19 doesn't take holidays off, and neither should you. We can celebrate the holiday season while continuing to follow all public health protocols and regulations. We must also remember to wash our hands and sanitize frequently. Wear our masks, cough and sneeze into our elbows, disinfect items brought into our homes, stay at least 3 feet away from others in public, and remain at home when we're feeling unwell. Let's have a happy and healthy holiday.
This message brought to you by Bahamas Ministry of Health in conjunction with Guardian Radio.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back with Nahaja Black. It's the hit back.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My good friend Ca Newry joining me today. It's a beautiful Monday. If you're tuning in, I want you all to know, if you're just tuning in, the maternal grandmother, Ca, as you know, I mentioned it from Friday. We spoke even today. She was to join maternal grandmother of baby Bella. It was to be a very, very interesting and candid conversation. Unfortunately, due to some court appointments today, 1 o'clock, which was to be a bail hearing for the mother of baby Bella, and at 3 o'clock, which would have been the hearing for the release of this beautiful child into the, the argument for the case, if the child could be released to the maternal grandmother. All of them, and just as I wanted to make sure I gave the proper update. The matter started today, was adjourned to tomorrow at 10 a.m. and bail will be dealt with tomorrow at 10 a.m. The prosecutor for the case did not show up for the bail hearing. So this is interesting stuff today with that case. Of course, that continues to be ongoing. And at the core of it is that there is a loss of a child, and we don't want to lose fact of, the point of it all, right? That we've lost a child, and none of this is a good story. I got my good friend though, so we weren't able to have that show today, which was promised with an exclusive conversation, and the grandmother wants to be very frank and candid and answer the questions that you were thinking, like what was baby Bella doing with her daughter and not with her, and why you want the body now, what about when she was alive? These were questions she's willing to have asked to her, and she wants to answer them very frankly. So that's going to be an interesting show when it does happen. Ca Newry, though, joining me. Of course, we were talking about Ca, trust me, there's a whole interesting story there. So talking about the election of Michael Pinsard and what the FNM, what this means to the Free National Movement, but also what it means to us as the Bahamian people. For me, I'm not moved by these things. See, so they don't do anything for me. I don't have I'm not a party person, so I don't get up or down with these things. I just find them very much politically interesting, just for my curiosity into politics. Of course, that's one of the things that I studied in school that I find fascinating stuff, right? So these things are fascinating to me, the machinations of how we build a country. Curious, we've had most every third party has gone quiet, as one would think that the Free National Movement would have taken some time, but they ain't gone quiet yet. Before we switch gears, because I want to talk about this new strain, right? Omicron, I like the name. It feels like it should be some sort of transformer character, right? Omicron. I really feel like it should be some sort of like evil villain, right? Anyways, before we go and we wrap up on this segment, I want to ask you, what should the Bahamian people, how should we feel about this? Because right now I'm feeling none pulse. I'm not moved by it up or down. It don't move me none. We got 4.5, 5 years of this administration. I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
And it's all about governance, right? We have a popular government in power at this present time, having the majority of seats, right? We know the challenges that has when you have so many seats, right? We know that the PLP has a big agenda, right? They have a number of things that they promise the Bahamian public, and they have a situation, an economy that is lagging, right? So there are a number of things that this particular government needs to do. In order for that to be accomplished, great strides to be done, there needs to be a strong opposition. There needs to be an opposition who knows when to compliment and cheer on the government, and when to critique and to give suggestions and to correct the government. At this present time, we know that for a bit after this election, the FNM was limping, and they have internal struggles that they need to correct. And in order for them to do their part in having a better governance of the Bahamas, keeping the government accountable, making sure that all of the voices of the Bahamas is heard, they need to rectify themselves and solidify themselves and become a strong machinery. So we see that they are in pursuit of that. So saying that politics, I know you don't like politics like how I don't like politics, yet we talk about it all day. It's important for the FNM to work, as it is important for the PLP machinery to be able to work. So we'll have a better governance moving forward that all of us as Bahamians can benefit. Because I passed through Bay Street just now, coming home, and it ain't look good. And we've been talking about Bay Street for years.
Yeah,
I need this government to address the problem of Bay Street, and I need this opposition to put the government feet to the fire that things are changed. And this goes for the hospital, this goes for the economy and how we borrow and pay back things. I need all cylinders on and for the go, and I expect everyone to play their part.
Yeah, and I think you're on to something there, Cecil, where we all have to play our part and really just get things moving. And I think that, listen, this is when people start to pay attention, when things move in the direction that the people benefit from government. That's period bar none, where we as a people move forward and benefit from the work of our government. And notice what I say, our government, because they all work for us, right? So, all right, let's switch gears a bit. So we have this thing now, Cecil, for God's sake, it is what it is. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go is pure COVID, right? All right. That was the best I could come up with a short notice. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate your interest in not embarrassing me. So what is the thing is, it's like we can't fight it, right? COVID is everywhere. And now we got this new variant that is causing all kinds of things. COVID-19 in Ohio, what we know so far with the newest variant of concern called Omicron. Omicron is now the new variant. It is finding itself all over the world. And countries are nervous, right? I don't know if the citizenry is as nervous as the leaders, but I know that countries are nervous. And now we have travel restrictions for South Africa. I thought it was fascinating personally, right? Because you look at Jamaica's letter and you look at our letter, they're quite similar. It was as if we were given some sort of script, and each country was told.
It was the same, Nahaja. There was no similar. It was the same letter.
I won't lie to you. It did feel like it was the same letter, though. It looked the same. The only difference was the crest, it was the crest. And one was longer. Ours wasn't as long. You see, ours wasn't as wordy, but pretty much the same delivery of that letter. And I thought it was fascinating. Same day. the same day, Jamaica and us and a lot of other countries had similar wording on the fact that we are restricting travel to by these countries. And I know we have a caller, but your thoughts on that?
And in truth, right, COVID, the first battle or the main battle of COVID is not being fought on small countries like us. It's being fought by superpowers and global conglomerates, right? And they actually set the stage and give instructions to smaller countries. So when we heard that South Africa found a new variant, right? The media was first to say, this is the narrative the world is going to go with. We're going to shut down South Africa, and not only South Africa, all of them southern countries in South Africa. And this is the need. And no one analyzed it after that. We took the script and it went viral, and then we responded in kind. I mean, in the Bahamas, we don't have any direct flights from South Africa, Zimbabwe, and those other countries. So we weren't immediately impacted. We know that if they come into the Bahamas, they had to go on to the United States. They had to go on to England. and
if they get to us, they had to, apparently everybody else open to them, right? That's a good point.
That's how I look at it, right? And by that time, everybody in those countries would have been impacted and affected before it reached us. So there was no dramatic, there's a need for us to lock our borders against these South African countries, because we had a first line of defense, and there's the superpowers, right? And whatever mechanisms they have in place, right? So later we found out that the variant is all over in a couple countries, not only in the southern African states, but we only close or have restrictions against a particular hue. Particular kind of people. It tells about the psyche of us as a people and how we view a particular group of people. And I am concerned about that. Especially,
well, I don't know. I don't even know if it's that, see, I don't even think it's about how we view a particular group of people. I think it is that we are just taking from the orders that were given, or the narrative that was given.
Those persons also have a view of those particular type of people.
And also, look, you could go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories that right now, South Africa and African nations, their vaccination rate is still well under 30%. You got a large body of people who need to get vaccinated. How do you push that? Maybe you lock them down, put more restrictions on them, and then we can help them to get vaccinated. That's an option, right? If you can, and these things we've used as seen as mechanisms to get people to vaccinate. A country like ours, we're gonna get vaccinated because we won't travel.
I'll ask you a question, Nahaja. Let's say by tomorrow, all things remain the same, and United States have an outbreak of this Omicron variant. Yes, Omicron variant. I mean, an outbreak.
Yeah.
Do we close our borders to the United States?
Well, if it was Dr. Minnis, no. But we hoping for the best.
You might just stop all tourists, all trade, and say, no, we can survive by ourselves, planting our own corn. For however long that is.
Yeah. If we was Dr. Minnis, no, we leave it wide open. We just open it during the peak of COVID. Open. Y'all dying in Florida? Open it up. Open. It's just, don't worry.
It's Thanksgiving. Sales going on. Go ahead.
It's small things. Who needs to worry about y'all dying?
And coincidentally, I did just thought about what you said. Last year, this time, we had a similar conversation on when the borders was open and the country was allowed to go to the United States to shop. It's right around the same time. We were concerned. Yeah. You think this is wise that we go to these Black Monday and this these Friday sale? And they said that's okay. They don't even have to take no test when they come back.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Oh, listen, Cecil, go through this. This is why you have to watch, right? You got to watch, right? You have to watch, Cecil. I just think about it in retrospect, right? Like one of the crazy things, we've lost 670, almost 700 people per capita. We must be in the top 10 of deaths.
Yes,
it feels like
I believe
per
so.
Capita. And that is something that there's still been no national day of grieving for the tomfoolery.
None.
Of the
we don't say their names at all, Nahaja.
No,
we don't say their
no
names.
Memorial on how we've lost, and that's the numbers that we know of. That's what we, and this is why there's so much grieving, so much things going on in country that you need that this conversation of COVID-19 needs to be very much a personal one from our leadership down, right? And I appreciate the tone. I always question, okay, why are we doing this? Are we doing this just because others said that that's what we should do? What is the direct impact of these things to us? I understand caution. But of course, these things gotta, make sense. We, South Africa is only one thing, but we know that Canada, we know the United States, we know Israel, we know all of these other countries. So how is this, all together making sense? Plus, we have slowed down in vaccination uptick. So what is the plan on getting more people vaccinated? I heard that Clint Watson, the press secretary, make reference to possible incentives like a vaccine lotto, which the U.S. Embassy, I think, has been doing for months to help people, to incentivize folks to get vaccinated, or at least get, well, I don't like to call it a vaccine because this definition had changed 30 times.
I entered that embassy thing. I ain't win nothing yet. I just let you know. I didn't win it.
I must be don't count. I can't win nothing.
I just said I ain't win anything.
Can you enter every day like a?
No, you enter once, and they keep on, circulating it, and I still didn't win nothing.
Okay, right.
I now listen to Dwight's show religiously, trying to see if my name get called. Nothing.
Well, they're supposed to call you too, right? So if you name me, you don't hear your name that day.
I don't want to listen to Dwight no more.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say.
Make up your mind, because I used to tune in just to hear everybody one. But now that I know that they called me, I can do better things with my time.
You can't do no better things with your time. Listen to Dwight.
Okay, you're confusing me, man.
Listen to Dwight. Ain't nothing better you can do with your time for them 3 hours in the morning. Drop your child to school. Listen to Dwight. All right. I think, let me ask my producer. Lord knows I missed the caller. Producer, do I still have a caller on the line? Just let us know before we switch gears here. Not switch gears, but continue with the Omicron conversation. Because I think that it's very important, CA, that we know what we're doing, right? Now, one of the things that's interesting in South Africa, a few South African scientists have said, oh, and of course, Dr. Chetty is from South Africa, right? So, of course, I called Dr. Chetty. Dr. Chetty, what is this? And Dr. Chetty said, well, right now, what we're seeing is that, this is what he tells me, is what we're seeing is that it's nowhere near as concerning as Delta so far, right? That there's that no hospitalizations, it's nowhere near as severe. It's more like a common cold. And now, persons in the UK are saying they're hopeful that this means that this variant may help replace and be the ending of COVID in the way that we are accustomed to it. So this is why I think, Cecil, we should be having a lot more of our own science and testing in country. Once again. So it leaves me with this question. Should we be fearful? Should we be cautious as the government is? But is the government being cautious based on someone else's ideas? I just don't know what I'm seeing right now.
Nahaja, I am on the new emergency. What will the Bahamas do when another outbreak happens? I'm not even concerned about COVID. I'm learning to live with this, right? But if there's another type of, God forbid, Ebola to happen to come across the seas and make it to Florida and eventually make it to the Bahamas, I would like to know, what is our plan? What type of systems
emergency
do we have
response
in place?
Yeah.
And I still want to know what NEMA has to do with this response on a national.
Nothing.
I'm concerned about
Nothing.
Because they're supposed to be our emergency system and putting in systems in place. And I'm concerned that perhaps we haven't learned anything. And God forbid that COVID goes for 3, 4, 5 years and there's another outbreak of something, right? And we haven't learned anything and we collapse. Our systems collapse again. And I'm more concerned about that. I believe that we need to put systems in place. We need to put people in place. We need to have narratives written that 20 years from now, when we forget, that our children be able to read up and say, the last time something like this happened in the Bahamas, this was our response, and that they're able to learn from these things quickly.
And I think that that's where the question is: are we able to learn from these things quickly? Let's see. This is why I say, it's very interesting. Okay, we have a call on the line. I think it's very interesting how we are moving forward. I laughed when I saw the letter. Looked exactly the same as Jamaica. Prime Minister hold this one. Listen, them two must have called each other. What you saying? What line you put in for the first sentence? And it's like, yeah, I put in this line. I could put the same line. I like it. All right, we got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the hit back. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, Black. Good evening.
How you doing, buddy? Welcome.
Yeah, I appreciated when you had Dr. Chetty on, right? And so apparently amongst us, first of all, I'd like to state emphatically that I am a dummy, a well-read dummy, right? Because some people are jealous of my knowledge. I've had conversation with scientists and doctors alike, and they all agree with what I'm saying, right? So I was wondering, the fact that I think Ca Newry was right because, there's the construct with Africa because, it's not the fact that the strain is African. It's the fact that South Africa, and Dr. Chetty could tell you this, they have the best epidemiological team and infrastructure in place, like as first world countries. So they are the first country to sequence and notice this new variant. And so when you had Dr. Rodrika Richardson on, and I was telling her there's no way to say how much mutations take place because you didn't test everybody. And when you understand the influenza strains, you will always be having variants. This is why they picked this particular influenza viruses to do gain of function research, because they will keep us in a viral mutation paradigm, because this is what viruses do, all right, especially the influenza strains. So they know this. So, the problem is, Nahaja, we're not willing to believe one another and be so blinded. And of course, I like how you disclose the fact that it's the same script. It is the same script, Nahaja. And anyone who you see come on the radio say there's no conspiracy, they are underread and misled, and they want me and everybody else to say and do what everybody else do, which is not science. Science thrives on objectionable views. Now that I've disclosed the fact that I'm a dummy, right? I don't, people are all over my back. They're seeing what I was saying for the past 2 years is actually coming true. But I'm not looking for any credence, because the message I send is bigger than me. So they're all over me because they don't understand the science. But I'll guarantee you, Nahaja, I'm willing to have a conversation without a phone, without a book, with anyone you bring on. You know why? Because I know what I'm saying. And so if the fool who called one that they believe I learned everything of YouTube, then he need to go on YouTube, because I don't even believe he can read or write. Because if you believe, I've studied the art of reading,
Hold on. I want you to wrap it up for me, because I want to hit something else too.
I've been offered YouTube videos, and I don't believe in that, because YouTube is their tube. And censorship is the order of the day, Miss Black.
No, I feel you. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. All right, I want to switch gears here, Cecil. So I don't know, before we run out of time, so I don't know if you are aware that the Prime Minister is leaving to go to Barbados, right? He's leaving to go to Barbados today to watch Barbados move to a republic nation. So Barbados is taking the monarch from over its head, that's Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and doing the grandiose move of making its country a republic, changing the whole structure of itself in the way that it is governing itself. And I think that it's fascinating. The Prime Minister is leaving, and in his stead to watch this, which is historic, very historic, what is happening. So what's also interesting in this process is because Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper has gone to Zurich, and that will leave the Prime Minister has left Glenys Hannah Martin to be acting Prime Minister for the next week. And so there's a lot of meat in that, all of what I said there. Prime Minister Davis is leaving the country to go to Barbados to watch Barbados become a republic, dismantling its hierarchy of the monarchy, and now becoming a sole independent sovereign nation without that covering. And then we have Glenys Hannah Martin will be the acting prime minister for that week when he's gone. Your thoughts on it?
We've had, mind you, congratulations to cousin Glenys and her appointment to be an acting prime minister.
We say cousin Glenys?
Yeah. So see Salmon, Ackles people, man. I'm part of the hand of the hasty times. Anyway, now let me move on quickly. You just stop that. We have limited time, right? Congratulations to her, right? I believe she's capable. And can you imagine if she had won the leadership leadership race in the PLP, perhaps she would have been prime minister anyway. So I find that funny and humorous at the same time.
That's right. Smart move. And I think, again, this is the prime minister showing some political savvy because, of course, you hear also about, possible factions in and of themselves within the Progressive Liberal Party. Maybe this is a wise move on his part to say, hey, I still view you as leader. You're still prime ministerial and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty smart of him. Glenys Hannah Martin will be the prime minister, the acting prime minister for the following week. And you think I could get the acting prime minister on the show?
Yeah, why not?
I will try that. I will try that.
And it also plays on the narrative that the prime minister is empowering women. And it's clearly that he's making the effort to do such. So, so that's something to feather in his cap also.
Something else to note before we go. The prime minister in his speech today says beaches and parks. And let me make sure that I show it here. That beaches and parks expenditure increased by nearly 150%, saying that I would be remiss if I do not speak about the Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority. In the 2021-2022 fiscal year, it had an approved budget of $15.2 million. After contingencies, its total budget was around $28 million, an increase of 86% against budget, an increase that coincided with electioneering. I am now told, he continues, that because of new contracts issued in the months of July, August, and September of this year, the projected expenditure of the authority for this fiscal year is $37 million. That's an increase of almost 150% against the budgeted amount, and in dollars, it is an increase of $22 million. I want that to sink in for a moment, he continues. I also wanted to sink in that a number of these contracts were awarded to clean middle and high-end subdivisions like Blair and Westridge, to name a few. The member of St. Barnabas will undoubtedly have a lot of explaining to do. Well.
You need to explain. And
Shannon Don Cartwright, eh?
And explain before February when people go in
February 27th
for deputy leave a particular party. You need to explain.
I thought it was interesting. You throw that blow and you make sure to leave the country. Say this, he has some explaining to do. Lucy.
Yeah, leave him here to explain that.
I'm out here. Deuces. I'm going to Barbados. CA, thank you so much, buddy. It's a pleasure always having you join me on the show. Tomorrow and Wednesday, I will be off tomorrow and Wednesday. I've got hosting the show tomorrow is Hubert Edwards tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, Robin Lyons. So of course, everyone tune in and stay connected with them. CA, thanks so much, buddy.
Yes, man.
All right. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Everyone have a great day. I'll see you guys later this week. I'm out.